Despite all the success Patrick Mahomes has achieved in his career, many casual fans may think he was the most sought-after draft prospect in the 2017 NFL Draft. However, that's not true. He was neither drafted in the top 5 picks nor ranked among the top 50 best prospects. Can you believe that? NFL draft expert Daniel Jeremiah ranked Deshaun Watson as the best quarterback in the class. Mitch Trubisky ranked second, DeShone Kizer ranked third, and Patrick Mahomes fourth. Daniel Jeremiah wasn't the only expert to view Mahomes in this light either. You can search on every draft board across the internet from PFF to Bleacher Report, and you wouldn't find a correct projection on Patrick Mahomes. So, who were the teams that passed on the NFL's best quarterback, and what happened to the players drafted before him? Starting with the number 1 pick, the Cleveland Browns passed on drafting Mahomes, which is nothing new for the Browns. The Browns have a knack for tormenting their fan base annually. That is one thing they are actually good at. Joking aside, they did draft Myles Garrett, one of the most dominant defensive ends in the entire NFL since he entered the league. Coming out of Texas A&M, Garrett was a can't-miss prospect with elite size, elite athleticism, elite production, and the Browns did the right thing by taking him. In fact, if you pass on Mahomes, settling for Myles Garrett isn't a bad choice. However, considering the quarterbacks on the Browns' depth chart that year, Kevin Hogan and Cody Kessler, it's quite puzzling. What do you say, Dog Pound? Would you rather have Myles Garrett or Patrick Mahomes? Pick number 2. The Chicago Bears traded up from the 3rd pick to get Mitch Trubisky, a quarterback who only started in one college football season at North Carolina. In Trubisky's junior season, he threw 3,748 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions while completing 68% of his passes. He stood tall at 6 feet 2 inches and had mobility to him, running a 4.6 40. These numbers contributed to Trubisky climbing up the experts' prospect rankings and solidified his place among the top passers. However, he struggled to meet expectations in the NFL, lasting only 4 seasons in Chicago with a record of 29-21. His best season came in 2018, when he threw for 3,223 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. The Bears built one of the league's top defenses, but offensively, they couldn't quite get it together. Mitch played under John Fox for 1 year, then Matt Nagy to finish off his time in the Windy City before the Bears drafted Justin Fields. We all know Chicago hasn't been a quarterback-friendly place to play. Trubisky has since played for Buffalo, Pittsburgh, then back to Buffalo. Maybe Trubisky could have been better if he had been drafted to another team and given time to develop like Mahomes. Who knows? I'll reveal the secret Lombardi formula towards the end of the video that only a few NFL teams know about, so stick with us. Pick number 3 featured the San Francisco 49ers. What could be worse than the Oakland Raiders passing on Aaron Rodgers for Fabian Washington in the 2005 NFL Draft? The team who passed on Patrick Mahomes for Solomon Thomas in the 2017 NFL Draft. The 49ers, led by new general manager John Lynch and head coach Kyle Shanahan, chose the defensive tackle out of Stanford. An underwhelming pick to say the least. And the 49ers didn't really have a quarterback on their roster either, so the need was clearly there. This decision has further haunted Lynch and Shanahan, especially since they would ultimately lose multiple Super Bowls to Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. We can see in hindsight that San Francisco aimed to build a strong defensive unit under their new regime by taking Solomon Thomas, and they succeeded by devoting many of their first-round picks to that side of the ball since then, but passing on Mahomes stinks pretty bad. In the same 2017 season, the 49ers started out 0-8 before trading for Jimmy Garoppolo, which helped turn their season around to finish 6-10. It's hard not to wonder what could have been with the Kyle Shanahan and Patrick Mahomes duo. Instead, the Niners were more excited about C.J. Beathard in the 3rd round and eventually taking a Mahomes lookalike in Trey Lance in the 2021 draft. Imagine if Lynch and Shanahan actually took Mahomes. How many Super Bowls would they have won by now? It just shows the decisions made by these teams during the 2017 NFL Draft are a clear illustration of the unpredictability and pressure that comes with drafting players, often leading to regrettable choices. Moving on to pick number 4, the Jacksonville Jaguars chose LSU running back Leonard Fournette. Fournette was a powerful back. He ran a 4.5, weighing 240 pounds, standing 6 feet tall. His numbers at LSU were great, and his tape looked even stronger. At the time, Jacksonville rostered Blake Bortles as their quarterback, who showed some promise early in his career but sharply fell off after the 2017 season. Fournette rushed for 2,631 yards and scored 17 touchdowns over 3 seasons in Jacksonville. He didn't make it through his 4-year rookie contract. After the 3rd season, Jacksonville attempted to trade him but couldn't find any takers. Fournette was waived and shortly after signed with Tampa Bay and won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady and the Bucs. Fournette played in Buffalo in 2023 but didn't do much before being cut. Jaguar fans, tell me, would you rather have Jacksonville legend Blake Bortles and Leonard Fournette or Patrick Mahomes? Pick 5 saw the Tennessee Titans select wideout Corey Davis from Western Michigan. Unfortunately, Corey Davis never became what the Titans hoped. Although he accumulated 985 yards in his final season in Tennessee, he was underwhelming. The Titans at the time had Marcus Mariota as their quarterback, who was still in developmental stage under lousy coaching. Makes sense why they opted for Corey Davis instead of Mahomes. They were trying to support Mariota with better weapons. But in hindsight, this choice didn't pan out. I believe Marcus Mariota would have performed way better with an offensive-minded coach and better talent around him. Mariota's time at Oregon was incredible. It's a shame he didn't get a proper chance to be coached to his strengths, but that is for another video. Corey Davis would end up playing for the next team drafting before leaving the NFL. Pick 6, the New York Jets took Jamal Adams from LSU. While Adams proved to be an impactful safety, he lasted only 3 years in New York before being traded to the Seattle Seahawks in July 2020 for 2 first-round picks and some other assets. Blitzboy had one good season in Seattle before falling far from his prime and bouncing around different teams. At the time of the draft, the Jets felt they didn't need a quarterback, having Bryce Petty, Christian Hackenberg, and Josh McCown on their roster. Jets fans, are you sticking with Jamal Adams with the 6th pick and eventually trading him for the 2 first, or would you rather have Mahomes? If it was up to me, I'd pick you to subscribe to our channel. No, really, if you're enjoying the content, turn on notifications so you don't miss out on future halftime videos. Up next, pick 7. The LA Chargers drafted Clemson wideout Mike Williams, a big-bodied receiver who caught many jump balls, but it took him a while to produce because of injuries. Keep in mind, the Chargers still had Phillip Rivers during this time, and he deserved every weapon he could get in order to chase a ring. Drafting Mike Williams kept them in a win-now mode, pairing him with Keenan Allen. Together, the duo did plenty of damage against opposing teams, but the Chargers failed to win any Super Bowls, and Mike Williams only produced 2 1,000-yard seasons before being let go by Jim Harbaugh in 2023. Imagining Mahomes in the powder blue uniforms would make Chiefs Kingdom throw up, but LA did have the chance of keeping Mahomes away from their AFC West rival. Pick number 8, the Carolina Panthers selected Stanford running back Christian McCaffrey. He was a hot commodity, a finalist for the Heisman, and all the hype was trending in the right direction for CMC entering the draft. There were rumors leading up to it that Carolina was all in for Christian McCaffrey, and they got their wish when he was still available on the board. The Panthers had a prime Cam Newton at quarterback, and the selection of McCaffrey was the hope of a high-powered offense and easing Cam's workload. It looked promising, but Cam couldn't keep his Superman powers forever. Cam played the next 2 seasons before getting hurt in 2019 and being released in 2020. McCaffrey was a great pick. He produced a lot for the Panthers, especially after Cam Newton left. CMC's 2019 season was a peak at greatness. He accumulated 2,392 total yards and 19 touchdowns. He accomplished that feat again in 2023 after being traded to the 49ers in 2022. His Offensive Player of the Year performance was insane. In Kyle Shanahan's offense, McCaffrey totaled 2,023 scrimmage yards and 21 touchdowns. Good enough to put the Niners in the Super Bowl. But Mahomes was there waiting for them, and the Chiefs secured the victory. Pick number 9, the Cincinnati Bengals chose speedy wideout John Ross out of Washington. Ross broke the 40-yard dash record at the Combine, clocking a 4.2, the fastest in NFL history. If you were choosing for the Bengals, John Ross's game film in 2016 would have made you draft him too. After the NFL got to witness the damage that Tyreek Hill did in his first season with the Chiefs, everyone wanted speed that much more. Ross was a cheat code for UW, and his senior season was filled with explosive highlights. In 2016, he caught 81 balls for 1,150 yards and 17 touchdowns for the Huskies. At the time, the Bengals hoped to be getting a game-changing weapon, and Andy Dalton was thrilled to have another receiver to pair with A.J. Green. However, as it turned out, John Ross had a tough time with injuries, and he never reached 1,000 yards in his entire career. Pick number 10. Originally, the Buffalo Bills owned this pick, but they traded it to their arch nemesis, the Kansas City Chiefs. KC traded their first-round selection, the 27th overall, their third-round selection, 91st overall, and their 2018 first-round selection for the Buffalo Bills spot. Chiefs GM Brett Veach, then second in command in the KC front office, was firmly set on taking Patrick Mahomes after falling in love with him in the scouting process. Veach believed Mahomes would launch them from playoff participants to Super Bowl contenders. In the trade, Buffalo moved back and got draft capital. The Bills drafted cornerback Tre'Davious White out of LSU with pick 27, but the quarterbacks on the roster that year were Nathan Peterman, Joe Webb, and Tyrod Taylor. Self-inflicting, the Bills missed out on Mahomes, but thankfully for Brandon Beane in the following year, they got Josh Allen. But the Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid got their man. They did what was needed to move up and were greatly rewarded for the risk. They ended up with a generational talent, but they did not rush Patrick into the starting role. They wisely gave him a year to sit and learn behind veteran quarterback Alex Smith. Mahomes spent his rookie year running the scout team and learning Coach Reid's playbook. This is the secret that most teams can't figure out, the Lombardi formula. Drafting a quarterback and allowing him the proper time he needs to get acclimated to the NFL. The results are incredible. Patrick could not have landed in a better situation, maybe other than San Francisco with Kyle Shanahan. But the Chiefs were already a playoff team. They had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, one of the best offensive minds in Andy Reid calling and designing plays. Their defense was strong, and the entire organization was stable and heading in the right direction to become the next dynasty in football. Back when Patrick played at Texas Tech, he was known for being a raw gunslinger. He put up video game numbers during his senior year in the air raid offense under Cliff Kingsbury. In just 12 games, he threw 5,052 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. He also scored 12 times on the ground. However, many teams and media analysts looked down on the air raid offense due to its lack of success in translating to the NFL. But that all changed when Andy Reid proved to the entire league that you can take a quarterback from that system, coach him up, play to his strengths, and have success. And Andy Reid wanted Patrick to keep that gunslinger mentality. Reid instructed Mahomes to play free, not worry about throwing interceptions during practice. Over time, Reid would fine-tune his young quarterback and coach him to understand the game deeper than ever before. From dissecting coverages in the defense to calling audibles pre-snap, Reid has mastered the art of quarterback development. Reid was a part of the Green Bay Packers when Mike Holmgren was in charge, and they revitalized Brett Favre's career from a castaway quarterback on the Falcons to a Hall of Famer with the Packers. Holmgren was part of the 49ers under Bill Walsh, and together they utilized the Lombardi formula on Joe Montana, which led to great success in the 80s. In Kansas City, Andy Reid recognized the need to emphasize important aspects when the playbook evolved after trading Alex Smith to Washington. He allowed Mahomes to play freely and utilize his natural aggressive style. Patrick deserves credit for what the Chiefs have been able to accomplish, but to say he's the only reason they have dominated is not fair to Andy Reid and the entire Chiefs organization. Environment matters when it comes to developing quarterbacks. Mahomes was the missing piece of the puzzle, but the puzzle was already set up for success. Surprisingly, most teams do not understand the concept of being patient and building organically. Rushing young quarterbacks into NFL action doesn't help them in the long run. The quarterbacks that have won the most Super Bowls throughout NFL history have all been given the opportunity to develop and ease into the starting role. It's the Lombardi formula. Tom Brady waited behind Drew Bledsoe. Brady won 7 Super Bowls. Joe Montana waited behind Steve DeBerg. Montana won 4 Super Bowls. Terry Bradshaw waited and won 4 Super Bowls. You get the picture? Waiting doesn't mean doing nothing. A whole year of consuming the playbook, watching film, learning defensive schemes, and getting valuable practice reps without a doubt improves the chances of a young quarterback finding success. Yet teams would rather have instant gratification and rush their quarterbacks into the monstrous pressures of performing without fully knowing the game at the NFL level. It's criminal, and when the young quarterback doesn't perform, they blame it all on him. Cut him, find another one, and repeat the process. Instead of finding the next perfect quarterback, organizations need to focus on becoming the perfect franchise for helping a quarterback. Drafting a quarterback and expecting him to be the franchise savior is unfair. Football's a team sport. Yes, the quarterback is the most important position, but it's only one position. There are only a few great quarterbacks in the NFL, and Patrick Mahomes has proven to be one of those. Mahomes' pocket awareness and ability to consistently make throws from insane acrobatic positions took the league by storm. In his first year as the starter, he threw for 5,097 yards, 50 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. The chemistry he, Travis Kelce, and Tyreek Hill formed was unstoppable for defensive coordinators to stop and resulted in a Super Bowl title in Mahomes' second season as the starter, the second title for Kansas City since 1969. Mahomes' legacy strengthened after a big shakeup for the Chiefs when the front office traded Tyreek Hill to the Miami Dolphins for a haul of draft picks before the 2022 NFL Draft. Most fans and media networks believed this would expose Mahomes and bring him down to earth because his deep threat was no longer a part of his arsenal. But he proved everyone wrong and led his team to a second Super Bowl victory, establishing himself as one of the greats. It was Brady-like in that he didn't need a superstar receiver to win it all. Yeah, he still had his old trusty Travis Kelce, but a quarterback needs weapons. And weapons or not, Mahomes and Reid still figure out ways to win. In 2023, Patrick Mahomes did it again. He led the Chiefs to another Super Bowl and won his 3rd Lombardi trophy, establishing a dynasty. 3 Lombardis in 7 seasons. Well, 6 if we're not counting his rookie season while he waited and developed. In 2024, the Chiefs set out to make history as the first team ever to win back-to-back-to-back Super Bowl trophies 3 in a row. Some quarterbacks are lucky to win 1 championship in their career. Meanwhile, Patrick Mahomes is following in the footsteps of the GOAT. But will he be able to surpass him? You made it to the end. You'll want to watch one of these.